There we go.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. My name is Tisha, and off to my left, I've got Nate Flood. We are the co hosts for Casual Convo Friday, and happy early Valentine's Day. You see, we're sporting the red and the glasses and all this fun stuff. And today we have Andrea Masick. She is a career change coach, and today we're talking all about career transition. And I'm excited about this. A lot of people making some moves, especially in 2021. And Andrea's going to go into a lot of those different questions and topics. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Andrea. Andrea, welcome. Welcome to Casual Combo Friday.
Thank you. Thank you, Nate and Tisha, for having me. It's exciting and nice to be here.
Yay.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, real quick housekeeping before we get started. I know we always get a flood. See that, Nate? Nate Flood, a flood of
Ah,
questions. Yeah. So if you have a question, if you're tuning into this live or even catching the replay, make sure to send us a chat, say hello, and ask your question. So Andrea, Nate, myself, we can address that while we're on live. Or if you are watching the replay, we do go back and we check those comments too. So don't be a stranger. Say hello.
yeah.
Give us your questions so we can talk about it on this live stream. Well, without further ado, and here you go. Maria, happy early Valentine's Day. It's been a long time. Nice to see you all. Nice to see you too, Maria. Thank you so much
Um,
for tuning in on LinkedIn. And yeah, Valentine's. Here
yeah.
we go. Valentine's and President's Day. It's like
Yeah.
party all in one. Party all in
Oh
one
yeah.
weekend.
I did not know it was President's Day Monday, and my husband said he was off work. I'm like, why? Why are you off work? So, in
You're
case
like, I'm
anyone
off
didn't
work
know that,
too.
yeah, like I'm off work too. Yeah, my boss gave me the day off.
My boss gave me the day off too. What about you, Nate? Boss give you the day off?
No, I never get the day
No.
off. Never.
And I have to say, first of all, before we get started, I want to say a very heartfelt happy birthday to Nate Flood. Yesterday was his big birthday.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Whopping
Yes,
happy
37 years old
birthday.
there yesterday.
37 years old. Awesome, Nate. All
Nice.
right. And Luis Melendez saying groovy glasses, Tisha. Yeah, thanks so much. They
Oh
don't
yeah.
have frames in them. So I have the contacts and glasses. All right, well, let's get going because we have a jam-packed session. There's a lot to cover today. So Nate, why don't you take it away with the first question for Andrea?
Sure thing, Andrea. Thanks for coming on. Glad to connect with you.
Yeah.
First thing I want to ask you is if you could go back because you're talking about career counseling and things of that nature. If you could go back to your 20-year-old self, everybody always has that. Man, if I knew what I knew now back then, what would I do? What would be the one thing that you would teach yourself to kind of set yourself on a little bit better of a path?
That could be an entire 3-day conversation, I think, right? So much wisdom. But I would think the biggest thing I would tell my 20 something self is to slow down. I coach mostly young professionals and recent graduates, and I get it. We're hungry, we're fighting so hard that entire educational career to get there and get to the other side that we often don't stop to actually pick our head up, literally and figuratively, and look around of what's happened, how we've changed, and absorb all that new information. So I would really encourage you, no matter what phase of life you're in, but especially in your 20s, take a moment, really pause, and give yourself the space and time to figure out who you are and what you want before you keep blazing that amazing trail that you're already blazing.
I hear that. I know me personally, I would tell myself to take a little bit more advantage of the opportunities I had to learn. That was a big thing. I spent a lot of time learning, doing different jobs and stuff, but looking back, I probably could have done a little bit better job of that as I was moving forward. What about you, Tisha?
I think I would go with Andrea. I think that so many of us are caught up and I have to get there so fast. I have to do it faster, better. I have to just get there
Yeah.
that we lose sight of the journey. We definitely don't celebrate the wins. I'm big into celebrating the wins. I'm big into slowing down to speed up, slow down to speed up.
Yes.
And even as I'm mentoring students that are like, I just want to get there faster, I'm like, I'm just throwing caution to the wind. You want to make sure that you slow down because that's when you become more effective. That's when you realize where you're making your mistakes. That's where you can really evaluate what you need to be doing better. So that's what I always say. And so I take that advice to heart.
And I want to touch on that, what you both mentioned. We're so we're so afraid of failure. And this is also something, I know you said one thing, Nate, but I'm going to add on another thing is, I tell my clients this all the time, or prospective clients are like this, we're sharing wisdom. Really don't be scared to fail. Like, say that's the big F word in our career, right? Is the failure. But truly, and I know it sounds cliche, and those of you who are on LinkedIn, you hear this a lot in a lot of different content, is fail forward and failure is feedback. But that's another huge piece of advice, or something I would tell myself in my 20s, is don't be scared to mess up, because like Nate mentioned, and like Tisha said, that's how you're going to learn. If you don't let yourself mess up and learn from it, you can't go forward and you can't get information. So, there's a professional way to mess up, especially if you're in a job or looking for a job, but don't be so scared to be perfect that you don't ever fail. There's so much wisdom and lessons in that. And I failed a lot in my 20s and in my 30s. I'm in my late 30s now, but just don't be scared of
that. Absolutely. I can agree with that 100%. All right. So, one of the things, especially like with the past year, the way it was for a lot of people and everything, there's a lot of transitioning going on. People are trying to, make changes and move to different areas because either something, fell apart for them, or they're just tired of where they're at, or whatever the case may be. So we noticed, looking back at your profile and everything, you worked in project management quite a bit, and then you made the move to becoming, an entrepreneur, starting your own business. Walk us through that path, and how did you stay motivated? How did you educate yourself? Take us on that little adventure that you went on.
Oh, such a fun adventure, you guys. So, and this is why I coach on this specifically. I was a 2008 graduate from my master's degree, so I really empathize with everybody who's a new grad right now, whether it be your master's, a second degree, a third degree, or first degree. So I pivoted right away, and I did not expect to do that. Change is usually either given to us in the form of a pandemic or a life change that we don't expect, or we choose a change. But either way, navigating that is so important. So my change, much like these new grads, was not given to me. 2008 recession. So I accidentally fell into career development. My first job was in career development, and I was a career advisor. So what I'm basically doing now with my own company. And I did that. I took a chance, right? My boss took a chance on me and hired me, and I took a chance in going into that job, but I had to get really clear on what that move meant. So that is something I want people to know. If you're making a change, really understanding what that priority is of why you're making the change is really key, because that's what's going to drive your action as you seek that change. But that was my first experience with a pivot right out of graduate school. And then I've always known I wanted to serve and support others. Hence, I'm a coach, but I was always really interested in healthcare. So I pivoted from that first job in career development into healthcare, actually. So at that healthcare organization, I was there almost 8 years and did a variety of things. I was an HR business partner. I worked in operations. I was a project manager, and then moved again into private consulting, and then was laid off actually the spring of 2019. Actually 1 month exactly after my husband and I got married. So that was another life change that was just kind of pushed me into a new direction. But I really embraced that, and I started my coaching business, and now it's my mission, and I support others through change that they're going through. So high level of my career the last 13 years.
There you go.
Yeah. A lot of things I could drop in there about nuggets and change and everything, but I'll let you ask me about that.
All right. Well, one thing I want to dive into about that is a lot of people, whether they're looking to become a business owner, or whether they're just looking to move up the corporate ladder, or whatever the case may be, I always tell people, especially when I'm mentoring younger folks, is you got to create value for yourself. Right? Like you have to show people the value of working with you, whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur, right? Like when we're getting clients, we have to show them what our value is.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through how you coach people on that particular aspect? Because there's a lot of people that don't quite understand how to build value for themselves.
Yeah, great question. So I coach on a 3-phase transformation process. The first phase being clarity and alignment, which I just touched on briefly. Second phase is what I call position yourself for success, which is creating value. And that's really what you're talking about, Native, really understanding all of the strengths and gifts and talents that you own as a person. And really in your early career, we're really shy about that. we don't really talk about our gifts and our talents. We execute on them in terms of maybe in sports or in leadership or in student organizations, but we act on them, but we don't discuss them. So one of the core elements I coach my clients on is to start talking about that as one thing, because the more you start to discuss with friends, with family, with other people, you'll start to hear themes. Reflective exercises are fantastic as well. So journaling, I'm a big proponent, like Tisha, of looking at your wins. So if you have a win journal, which I highly, highly recommend you start a win journal for yourself, you're also creating value. Yeah. You're also creating value for yourself, but and you're also creating evidence. So you're reinforcing that for yourself on a lot of different levels. And then another way to do that is ask people, you have, again, friends, family, mentors, take a few minutes and just send a simple text message and say, I'm doing some reflection on the value that I'm bringing as I go through this career change. Can you talk to me, or would you be willing to name 3 things that are positive about me that you recognize? So just practicing acknowledging that for yourself and discovering it in different ways is really important, because then you'll find themes. And that's how I did it for myself. And that's how I've coached clients on that. Because once you identify it, then you can amplify it, and then you can connect it to opportunity.
Can I say something on that topic? I love this because, I talk a lot about personal branding, and Andrea, we've had conversations about this, and we're so close. Like Nate, if I said, what are the best attributes you have? What, tell me about your wins, tell me about your personality. And a lot of times we're so stuck on that. And that's what career, that's what people want to see. And so just like you said, Andrea, going to your closest friends and family and saying, what do you see in me? What are those positive attributes? What can I bring to the table? What are those skills? Like I was on a hike yesterday with a good friend, and she was telling me, she's like, I don't really know what my purpose is. And I feel like you need to go back and look at all the sets of talents and skills that you have and bring that to the surface, because that's what makes you really unique. And people often forget that. They forget that it's not just what I did in this business or what I did in this company, but it's like a collection of everything you've done. So I really, really love, Andrea, that you said your evidence journal. What is your evidence journal? I love that. It's not just your wins journal. It's my evidence. This is the things that I've already done and proven that I can do it.
It is. And I'm a big person on efficiency. So you guys, if you do this, not only are you creating evidence, but you have a log for yourself. If you're in a job for a performance review, if you want to ask for a raise, when you're updating your resume, your LinkedIn profile, you have evidence for all of that collateral, and that you don't have to go back and remember it, because I don't know about you guys, I am in my late 30s. I don't remember what I did yesterday. So trying to remember what I did 6 months ago, it's not going to happen. So it's also a great way to just have a log of everything you've done, and you don't have to pull that out of thin air when you're going to look for a job and make a change. And then you can, again, see your themes of what's routinely coming out and what you enjoy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like studying you. It's time to study you.
You have to be an expert in you. That's another thing I have to preach on first. I get my clients know I always have a preachy moment every time we have a session. We spend so much time becoming experts in other people. And I actually just did a post about this. We know their talents, their gifts, what they're doing, their career moves. And we spend so much time comparing and focusing on them, but we don't spend that time and attention on ourselves. So one of the biggest things that you can do for your career is, like Tisha just said, become an expert in yourself. And all these tactics I'm talking about help you do that, really help you do that, because you don't have to, you can be fulfilled in your job. And the way that you be fulfilled in your job is knowing what your value is and what you're great at. And again, amplifying those things for yourself.
Good stuff. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the quickest way to actually, find your value too is how can you solve problems for somebody? I know the best times that I've ever, or not the best times, but the times that I've gotten hired or recruited to a part of a team or whatever the case may be, it all boiled down to, in the interview, me showing like, hey, I know you have this problem. I'm going to solve this problem. That's what my strength is. And I think a lot of people don't understand, like when you're the boss of a company or you're a project manager or whatever, like the last thing in the world you want is somebody that's just going to take up space and resources. So it's like, when you come to the table, what problem are you going to solve that I don't have to deal with? Because that's the number one thing that I ask everybody when they're coming on board with us is like, how are you going to solve this problem for me? Because this is the problem I have, and this is what I think you can solve. So how are you going to solve it? And that's the quickest way for them to add value for me to want to hire them.
Nate, I love that you said that, because that is 99.9% of every single job. And that's what a job description is. It is their ad for, hey, we have this problem, AKA the job opening. How are you as the candidate going to come in and not only solve my problem, but do it with less effort, less money, and quickly, right? Those are usually the 4 pain points that an employer is looking to solve, regardless of industry, regardless of the job title. So if you can find a way to connect those dots, that's the value. That's the selling point right there. And everyone is capable of doing that in a unique way.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that's when people, I think when they look at like job descriptions, they think, okay, well, let me tailor my resume to fit it, and here's my experience, here's what I've done. But it doesn't. They never touch base on, okay, here's how I'm gonna solve your problem.
Right.
But how much would they stand out in that? Like if they're going for a promotion or if they're going for a new job or whatever, how much would they stand out if they sent a letter in or whatever that said, hey, I know you have this problem. Here's how I can fix all that. Like, to me, that would just alarm bells, but nobody looks at it that way in the general terms.
Yeah. The analogy I use with my clients, because I love food, are recipes. So I would say I call it your career criteria, which is what I coach on: your skills, your gifts, your strengths, your talents, your unique value proposition. What we're talking about is your list of ingredients. And then the company's job description is their list of ingredients. And the goal with the job is to blend those ingredients together to create a really awesome meal and elevate those ingredients in the best possible way. So if you really think about it that way and complementing those two lists of ingredients, that's a great way to know like how you can blend into that recipe and really make it great for the company. So that's the analogy I use with my clients.
It's
I
good
like
to know.
that.
Everybody loves food.
Yeah,
I love
'cause
that.
love
That's so
food.
clever. Hey, we've got Jeanette coming on, Jeanette Coloroso.
Hi, Jeanette. Hi,
Yay! Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, good to see you. And yeah, the glasses. Love the glasses. I have to make a statement. It's Valentine's Day.
Love
Nate,
it.
if you want to put Luis Melendez's comment up here too, he said, great topic. I now have some internal homework to do. Thank you.
Yay.
Yeah. Hey, we're not here to just discuss. We want you to actually put these things into practice and start using it. So the evidence journal, celebrating your wins, figuring out what your value proposition is, all good things that I think every single one of us could be doing.
Yeah. And I guess shameless plug, I'm sure you're going to get there, but I have 2 free resources on my website and on LinkedIn right now for these 2 things. I have 6 daily mindset prompts for what we're just talking about that you can go and download and start now. And then also I have a transferable skills workbook that really helps you uncover and understand how to figure out your value and your skills. So I want you guys to have these resources and be able to do that and not feel like you're starting from scratch and you don't know where to start.
Very cool. Good. So now you have to have more shameless plugs, Andrea, because you get time at the
We'll
end.
get there. We'll get there. Yeah.
You're like, I just pulled this out. Here we go. And thanks, Conrad. Conrad joining us on Facebook says, OMG, your heart glasses. Hey, thanks. Thanks so much. I love him too, but just for this occasion. All right, Nate, keep going. Keep going. This is a good topic.
All right. Okay, so we talked about like building value for yourself, but let's say someone's ready to make a move, and they come to you, and whether it's again trying to move up in a career or start a new business, whatever the case may be, what's the best advice you can give them for starting out? I know you talked about building value, but let's talk about the steps they need to take, because there's a lot to it. A lot of people don't understand. You can't just, I'm gonna up and quit my job today and go start something new. Like there's a process. So walk us through that.
Yeah. So one of my core philosophies is also reverse engineering the process. So working backwards, start at the end. So if you doesn't have to be the crystal clear detail, everything is mapped out, you know exactly where you're going, but you need to have an idea of where you're going, because otherwise you're aiming at everything imaginable and then you're actually aiming at nothing because you're aiming at too much, and that actually fuels the cycle of being frustrated and being stuck and then not actually seeing the progress that you want to make. So taking the time to really get very crystal clear on why am I actually doing this? Nate, to your question, whether it's pivoting into a new role, a new industry, leveling up, a lateral move, going, into a new, starting my own business, why are you doing that? So get really clear on that priority and work backwards. So usually the first thing, I don't work through budget specifically with my clients, but for most of us, budget is a primary driver of why we're doing things, right? We have family, we have bills, we have a life that we have to support. So if that's the primary thing for you, start with, okay, what is the minimum or maximum amount I know I need to make this change, and work from there? Because often that will also help you determine, again, the type of job you're going to go for, maybe what location you're going for if you're moving, things like that. So starting at your endpoint can really help you work back into the first thing or the second thing that you need to do. So that would be my first very priority tip, is start at the end. Have an idea of where you want to end up.
Hey, I love the reverse engineering concept, because I do it all the time when I'm building processes for people, when I'm building software, things of that nature. So, we're looking for that end result, and then we got to, build back. Okay, to get there, here's the steps. So I can totally understand that. In terms of, it always helps, we all know that the way the world works is it's all about who you know, who you get leads with, who you make connections with, things of that nature. Walk us through how you counsel people in terms of building out their network. So when they're looking to make a move, let's say I'm working at a corporate company, and I'm looking to either move up the ladder or maybe take a new position, a new company, whatever the case may be. Walk us through the steps that you would suggest to me in terms of like building my network out. I know, the first thing I did was last year was contact Tisha to get outside of my bubble. My bubble of connections on LinkedIn weren't very active on LinkedIn, and I couldn't get out of it. So I was like, well, I'll find somebody to get me out of the bubble. Lo and behold, here we are, and I now have, all her connections coming on board with me.
Nice.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. I think we're still there. Nate, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I love this, and I also coach on networking. I am a super connector, which is what your guest talked about last week.
Nate.
So networking, Nate, yes.
Yep.
So networking, I love because it is a free resource that you can utilize right now, that you don't have to wait for. You don't have to go buy it. You don't have to wait till you get to a certain level of experience. So I want people to feel like they can approach this and use it to their advantage. So the first thing, again, is being clear. So again, you might have a few different reasons why you're going for your next step, but I need you to have that narrowed down. So I'll give you a concrete example. I have a client right now who is looking to break into tech, who is looking to move different countries, and is also looking to go for a higher level job. Those are all fantastic reasons, and we're going to work through all of those, but we have to prioritize that first. Right? So you can do everything, but you can't do it all at once, and you get overwhelmed. Yeah. So when we leverage her network, the first thing we're going to do is figure out, okay, of those 3 items, what's the priority? And then we're going to work backwards from there. So when we talk about networking, same thing. If your first priority is, let's say, location, start with who you know. Get a piece of paper, maybe, or go on LinkedIn, and let's say you want to move to, I'm in Chicago. Let's say you want to move to Chicago. Look at cousins, family, coworkers, things like that, people in that area, and make a list first, and then see who it is that you can talk to. That also takes away some of the intimidation factor. A lot of people aren't like me. They're not like us. They're not comfortable talking to the world and like sending messages to people. So don't start yourself with something that feels really scary and intimidating, because then you're not going to do it. I want you to start with something that feels approachable and comfortable for yourself, and then work into the bigger goal. So if you have a cousin or a friend of a friend that's in Chicago, ask for an introduction. Say, Tisha, hey, Andrea's in Chicago. I'm really curious about moving there. Would you be willing to make an introduction so I can chat with her about what her professional experience has been like? So again, that clarity piece is really important before you reach out. And then the second thing would be, start with who you know, and then work your way out from there.
Hey, I can dig that.
Me too.
So to kind of wrap up, before we get into your second shameless plug of the day.
You get 2. 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I got tickled. Sorry. The last question I want to talk about, we kind of touched a little bit more on building more of the career path and stuff like that. But let's talk about the actual process of jumping ship and starting your own business. So if somebody comes to you with that scenario, and they're like, "Look, my career path seems to be I need to go start a business," and they probably never have ran one before. So walk us through some advice you would give to them in that situation.
Sure. And again, this is kind of the key 3 steps I'd coach anybody on if it's a transition, whether again it's a new industry or you're looking to start your own business. Is again, start again, repetitive, but start with where you want to go. First, have an idea. So especially when it comes to starting your business, we're in a culture right now where it's the sexy, fun, interesting thing to do, right? But it is hard. The 3 of us, anybody out there who started your own business, it is, I'm not going to curse. It is really, really hard. And I think we get into the glitter and the glam of the other side of what it looks like when things are running smoothly and you're making the money and things are working well and you can travel and you can do things, but we don't see as the really hard work that goes into it. And that goes for any change, any transition. If you're doing something new for the first time, it's going to suck at first. It's not going to be comfortable. But if you're willing to do the work and get the support to do that work, it'll happen for you. So I would say the biggest thing is really understand what you're willing to do if you're going to start your business. So I'll give you a concrete example. I had the intuition that I wanted to go back to career development before I was laid off. Mm-hmm. So I started to reach out to my old team and my network when I was working in higher education and was putting feelers out there. And then I got laid off and I thought, you know what, this might be my only opportunity to give this a shot. I was terrified, but I gave myself a timeline. So I said, okay, I'm going to, talk to every person I know right now who's an entrepreneur and get various different perspectives. So again, that networking piece, get information, get clear on what it is that you want to do about it. Secondly, I took it in 3 to 6 month chunks. I didn't go into starting a business saying, this is going to be end all be all. I'm going to do this forever. Now I know that because I'm about 2 years in, but I said, okay, I'm going to give it 3 months. I filed my LLC. I stood up certain things, started to coach. And 3 months later, I said, okay, how is this going? Let's extend it for another 3 to 6 months. So I did it in pieces. And that's the strategy I take with my clients too, because we also have that mentality that it has to be all or nothing, right? Like if I don't go all in, it's never going to work. And I want you to give your all when you're dedicating yourself to a transition or a change, but it's okay if you're evaluating. You don't have to commit to that specific thing. Do it, like we said, test it out, try it out. You might fail, but you're going to know what it is that you like, what you don't like, what you want to explore, and then you can take that going forward. My business, what it looks like today is not what it looked like 3 months ago or even 6 months ago. And so the biggest thing with a business, if you're starting a business or any transition, is giving yourself the permission to be flexible and to really evaluate where it is that you stand in each phase of that change.
I like that advice. I love that advice because I think we go, well, what's my 5-year plan? Well, why don't you just look at it in chunks and see what happens then?
Yeah.
And then you get like frustrated and you're like, I'm not there. And why am I not there? And by the way, Nat Handler, yes, you're still good. You're still good. And it's replay. You can watch the replay. So you missed a good one. Andrea's doing an amazing job talking about career transition. Oh yeah. See, Nat's even saying, Nate, he's even saying, Andrea, Tisha, we got it. We got the red shirt. We got the necklace.
We tried.
Like, we're festive. Where are you? Where are you in this Valentine's Day?
If people called me yesterday, I wouldn't even remember it was my birthday. I didn't really remember that it's Valentine's Day coming up. I didn't know it was a holiday on Monday. I'm just trying to get through the hour. All right. You're talking about 5-year plans.
You're here?
He's like, just
you
through the hour.
Yeah. Oh my
I'm just
We
gosh.
trying
gotta
to get
give
through the
Mr.
hour.
Nate a break. He just turned a year older yesterday. And by the way,
Yeah.
I
That's
have all of you beat.
amazing.
All of you beat.
See
I'm
all
in my
this great.
40s, and it is
It's not matter
amazing.
about the age.
It doesn't matter.
Tisha, you are not in your 40s.
I'm
You are not.
41. I'm 41. And I wear it
Woo!
Ancient.
well. I'm just gonna say,
Yeah.
I like my 40s. So hey,
Ancient.
I'm just saying, ancient.
Ancient.
I was gonna say, anybody in your 20s watching, your 20s is to learn a lot. Like take every lesson. Your 30s, you take those lessons and you improve on them. And then your 40s, my friends tell me, is it gets better. It keeps getting better. So I mean, your 20s is the training ground. I will tell you, it's the training ground. So don't put so much pressure on yourself. And
Yep.
Tisha, to your point, the 5-year plan, the 3-year plan. You guys, I'm a recovering planner. I'm still a major, major planner. Anybody who knows me would be like, you're
Recovering
not
planner.
recovering. You're still there. All that to say though, I was that person in my 20s and my early 30s is I have to have the plan for the plan. I have to know what's coming next. And my career really took off and skyrocketed when I started to give myself that breathing room and only took it in chunks. And I'm not saying you can't do the 5-year plan or the 3-year plan. That's amazing. But don't be so tied to it that you hold on so tight and you don't give yourself the room to grow and do new things. Because you guys, when I was 18, I thought I was going to be a doctor. And then I came out of graduate school, thought I was going to be a private consultant. The world had other plans for me. And then I accidentally landed in career development and it was my dream job. And it is the reason why I'm coaching today. So shout out to my former boss, Eric Friedman. If you're watching, he's been a mentor to me and he gave me my shot 13 years ago. And that team and him made an amazing impression on my life. And there was biggest reason why I'm coaching today.
That's
So
awesome.
you never know. Yeah, you
never
never
know.
know where your life's going to happen. Yeah.
You never know. I always share the story that I wanted to be Connie Chung. And Nate, you gave me the opportunity to be Connie Chung. I get to interview people.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Every single Friday.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I
Me too. I was
know.
just
That
going to
was my
say,
goal.
should we share who that is for anybody who's under 25?
You guys just have to Wikipedia that and Google it.
Yeah, Google that. Google Connie Chung.
Just Google Connie Chung. Yeah, so I know we're short on time, but Nat Handler's saying, Nate, we need to work on your 5-hour plan. He doesn't remember his 40s. And he says, I pivot in my career. This topic is interesting to me. This is a great topic. Andrea, you did such an amazing job sharing so many words of wisdom, some nuggets, some actionable items. I always love that. I love guests when they come on and they give action steps. Here's what you need to do. And
thank you.
I really love that tip of if you're going to go into a new career, find out who the people are like that are already doing that. Start rubbing shoulders with those people because that's how you start to get there. That's closer than you were before. So great tips.
Thank you.
Nate, how are you doing on time? Because I know you're always like back to back to back. You're good?
I'm good for about 2 minutes.
All right, Andrea.
All right.
Last time. We're gonna give it to you. Shameless plug, and then we gotta cut this.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is my jam. This is my area of specialty for coaching. So if you are ready to make a change, reach out to me, practice your networking, reach out and let me know if I can support you. I'm taking private clients right now, and this is my area of expertise. I have lived it, I have coached it, and I know it's not easy. It's exciting, but it's not easy. And I want people to know that they have resources to make this change for themselves. So I'm here. I'm your girl. Reach out. Don't be shy.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Andrea. Nate, I expect props next time. I expect them.
Okay.
I expect for you to get on the bandwagon and wear your props.
There's a lesson that everybody that knows me has learned that whenever they ask of special things for me, I tend to go 100% into the extreme measure. So just be ready.
All right, Tisha, what I'm hearing is I'll have to come back and we'll have to do a theme and we'll all have to get really dressed up. That's what I'm hearing.
There we go.
I'm thinking we can do that.
All right.
Well, good. Well, happy Friday, everybody, and happy early Valentine's Day, happy President's Day, happy all of those holidays coming up. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. And we'll catch you back next Friday on Casual Convo Friday. And thank you so much, Andrea, for being our hot seat guest today.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Thank you both.
Yeah, no problem. Y'all have
Bye,
a great one.
everyone. Yay!